Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by... where's everybody gone? We're joined by Neil and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hola.
Did they hear a Shimon?
Shimon.
Okay, so in the pre-show we were discussing Man in the Mirror. We weren't discussing, but we were discussing self-assessment in general. And the general consensus of the discussion was that the motivation behind Bev and his joining of the show yesterday was to trigger me into behaving badly. Or at least that was John's sentiment in terms of his divining of their motivation based on what they had said partway through the discussion. Nevertheless, that's what we were discussing in the pre-show. Check it out if you're a member, or it'll come out on my second channel in about 3 or 4 days' time. If you're not a member, you don't have to pay for these absolutely riveting discussions we have while I'm doing the sound check and such like. Right, I haven't done housekeeping.
Nathan, have you ever
Go on.
You ever come across a topic called statement analysis?
Not as a topic that I can say I'm familiar with. No, why?
You'd be interested in it. You're already doing it. But it's like when you say you get, I don't know, accused of a crime, right? And you're cross-examined by the police. It's like what they would use to cross-examine you. It's an easy way to say it. You just analyze the statement.
I do know the term now. You said it. Yeah, so the behavioural panel will often start qualifying things. Or one of the panel, there's 4 of them, will start discussing something in terms of, what was the term again?
Statement analysis.
In terms of their statement analysis of what's going on. But then they'll quickly stop themselves and say, well, actually, in this instance, what we're supposed to be analysing in this regard is their behaviour as opposed to their language. But they still do it. Most of what they do, in fact, is statement analysis. But they're the behavioural panel. So I'm vaguely familiar with what you're saying. And there are plenty of, you know, is it Jamie Can't Swim, JCS channel, where they'll have various different analysts, including former detectives and such like, look over interviews where the criminal sat in front of the heavily trained interrogator, and they're, you know, building all their rapport, and then after the fact they're analysing how the what they called criminal what the criminal's saying and how they're saying it. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, there's a famous example of, I think it was King Solomon. It was a huge famine in the land. Just real quick, like there were 2 women, right? They ate one son. Like they decided they were going to eat each other's sons, and they killed the one boy and eat him. And then the other mom backs out the next day, and this case is brought before the king, and he's got to decide the matter. So he determines whose son it was, because the one mother referred to the dead son and the one mother referred to the living son. And it's pretty interesting.
It's called Solomon's wisdom. He threatened to cut the baby in half. And the real mother said, no, it's her baby. And that's how he knew who the real mother was.
I'm guessing this is Old Testament, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
My God, the Old Testament's brutal.
Brutally honest.
As is God. Vengeful.
Absolutely.
I hope I'm not offending Christians by that. That's just my immediate blurtings. Please don't take offence if you're a Christian. I don't know. That's just how it seems. Anyway, we've gone off on a major segue here. Why were we talking about this again? Statement analysis.
Oh, statement analysis, yeah. Because you mentioned it. You mentioned, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think we were about to do housekeeping.
I've often found, I'll just back you up, just because the only thought I can follow along that track is the fact that it would be nice for somebody to assess some of these old shows in that regard. I know I'd come off very negatively, but I'd be more intrigued to hear what they say about our opponents as opposed to me. But nevertheless, it'd be intriguing to see, like you say, if you analyse how people behave in some of these discussions that we have, these debates that we go through, what the general perception from an analyst would be. I hope I assess it on the fly reasonably well, in terms of my judgment of why they're doing what they're doing. And often what I'm trying to disseminate to an audience about why they're doing what they're doing doesn't get through because they're trying to talk through it, because they don't want that to be heard by them or the audience. Anyway, are we going to forego housekeeping today? Because the discussion's rolling on quite nicely.
Dealer's choice.
Ask my panel. Do you guys want to do housekeeping? Refracted, Neil, Arwin?
I always believe housekeeping is essential.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge, that's a horizon formerly known as Earth curvature?
The horizon is not Earth curve. There is no evidence of the horizon being Earth curve.
It was debunked in 2020 with the logical consistency modus tollens argument we labelled the black swan.
That's if the horizon is a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles, then no, that's P, right? Then no horizon can be greater than 1.2 times the observer's eye height in feet squared.
Not quite. Almost.
We do
99% correct. Just one. Not you started with the horizon. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles, yeah, that's your P statement. Then your Q statement is every distance to horizon measurement. Yeah, because we're talking about the geometric horizon, Earth curve, can be no more than, and then you got the rest of it right, 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, but that's just their maths, right?
Yeah, so let's finish it. The correction. We do see beyond 1.2 miles at 1 foot. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles.
Not exactly. Again, because I've corrected your Q statement, it's altered.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so if it's the specific bit that you're trying to peg is distance to horizon measurement. Yep. So their Earth curve maths, what is it? Well, they're asserting where the horizon of the Earth as a sphere will get in the way. That's distance to horizon. Where it blocks stuff, how much is hidden by it. That's what they're telling you with their Earth curve maths. What is their Earth curve maths? The distance to the horizon is 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's their maths. So if Earth's a sphere, your maths will be true. Your maths ain't true. Here's an example. Therefore, Earth's not a sphere. That is as simplistic as I can break it down. But it's specifically in regards to distance to horizon measurement. That's what the black swan is showing. They say in their maths 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. 1 foot observer height, 1.2 mile horizon. That's where it is in their maths. That's what Earth curve is for them. That's what they argue with their maths. Where is the horizon? Is it at 1.2 miles? It's beyond oil rigs at 10. Therefore, not measured at the distance claimed in the maths. Not Q. Therefore, not P. Earth, not a sphere, radius 3,959 miles.
All you've done was debunk the radius. Maybe it's bigger.
It's derived from well, we can get into that. Well, then that's good, Neil. Excellent. First opportunity of the day to get into you'll need a flat Earth for that with a nice juicy explanation of why. So what is the radial value and how is that measured with respect to Earth? Neil.
I'm sorry, you're talking to me? How is it
You're talking
measured?
to me? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Talking to you about where they measure radius, Neil. Where do they get their radius from?
Well, they get it from Jeez, I'm drawing a blank.
You got it. Nobody help him. He's got it.
You got this, Neil. We're all behind you.
Yeah. I'm sick as a dog, so I'm trying to think. Where'd they get their radius from anyway?
Something in the sky, Neil.
There's a couple of different ways they can claim they derive their radial value. One is by the minimum elevation. Oh, right, okay, go on, Neil. You had enough opportunity, but go on, rumpus me. Well, I'll tell you.
Wasn't it Alberoni?
You could use that. Yeah, go. Yeah, perfect. Go ahead.
Didn't he measure it with elevation angles?
He first takes an elevation angle measurement off a flat Earth to get the height of the mountain. That's correct. So first he measures the flat Earth. That's right, Neil. Then he gives you the differential between surface level and eye level, both horizontal planes of reference, to infer a below surface level, that's the one he measured for the height, geometric horizon. That's correct. So what did he have to do to get the geometric radial value that he's inferring from his measurement? He had to measure a... Ruin it. Go on, ruin it, Neil.
You needed a flat Earth, right?
Yeah, that was literally what I was halfway through saying. Yes, he will need a flat... Let's ruin it a second time. Yes, he will be measuring a flat Earth to get his radius, Neil. The whole point.
And
so when they
elevation
say...
angle.
Okay, it's conclusion time. So when they respond, well, that just means you've got a bigger radius. Oh, okay. So the Earth curve inference of a 3959 mile radius in the Earth curve maths, which here is specifically being referenced when we talk about distance to horizon measurements, as per your maths, 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, that's Earth curve maths, is a different value, you say. I see, we've just debunked the value. Where did you get that value, and where will you get this future value? From a flat Earth? You're gonna need a flat Earth to measure it? You got the original one from a flat Earth too? This sounds very much like a flat Earth proof in all instances, doesn't it, Neil?
Yes. But they could never get it, though, because of terrestrial refraction that they then conjured up so that they couldn't get it anymore. But just like with Newtonian gravity, they still use it even though they're not supposed to by their own standards anymore.
But we debunked it.
It's kind of convoluted like that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, but either way, it doesn't matter about what the anti-flat earthers do with that information. We debunked it 1st of January 2020. It's 4 years old. Black Swan, Earth's not a sphere, radius 3959. There is no geometric horizon. It's been debunked.
But once they say refraction, ain't they done for a second time?
I was about to move this and reposition this in light of our 2024 position, Neil, but go ahead.
No, I was just asking. I thought once they say refraction, they hang themselves.
Once we say on the front foot that Earth's been measured flat by Alberoni, no, I don't have to mention what he was measuring. They can bring that up. It's their claim. But if I'm going to infer that Earth's being measured flat by everybody always in all instances, regardless of what they're claiming after the fact, I could use Alberoni as an example on the front foot. Yeah, we've known Earth's flat for years. Right back, way back when, in the times of Alberoni measured Earth flat. Did you know that? That it was being measured by Alberoni? What's that you say? That name's familiar to you? Oh, really? Why is that? Oh, you say he's the man who gave you radius. That's an interesting story. You tell me all about it. And when you do, I'll point out how he absolutely, as I originally inferred and was right about, measured Earth flat, didn't he now? You see that flat Earth is measuring to get the height of the mountain? That's him measuring a flat Earth right there. Isn't it amazing how he's measuring a flat Earth with an elevation angle measurement exactly as we say he measured? And for you to say it's a sphere, he must measure it flat too. So we're all measuring it flat then. But you've got a bald belief after that fact, have you? That's nice. But we measure it flat. Jolly good.
That sphere is measured flat.
The sphere isn't measured flat. Earth is measured flat. Their inference of a sphere is a non sequitur they take from a flat Earth measurement and then have a belief in. Sphere isn't being measured ever. Flat Earth is, always. And I like to point that out on the front foot in all opportunities.
Man, the only analogy front foot analogy, because boxing. You know, it's a non sequitur. I just had a non sequitur.
I don't like the front. Go ahead.
Don't worry too much. Take time.
Go on.
to get used to leading with the front foot of Earth is flat.
No, we are doing housekeeping, Neil. I mean, I've stopped it at the point that I feel it's worthy of repositioning. You just happen to have a point to strap on at the end about refraction. That doesn't make you wrong, and it doesn't mean that we're not going to end up having these discussions. We will. You know, it's always going to come back. Witzit's point was right when he's like, well, I'm going to be confronted by a fundy. I cannot oppose him in that regard when he had that as an objection, because he's right. And I've, up until now, and when I started putting this argument, had thought about it and qualified it by saying, if you want to get into the debate, that is to say, you don't just go about your day knowing that you've shown or had shown Earth to be measured flat as precisely it is, but you want to then go and convert people who still believe they're on a globe. You want to relinquish them of that belief. Then you need to spend hours and hours researching and learning here on Flat Earth Debate how that's done, with plenty of examples that are trimmed out into little videos, and hours of us discussing these subjects as we've come to recognise and understand them. Now, don't get me wrong, if that's far too much for you, don't get into the debate with people. But the fact that they're not capable, these people I'm hypothetically postulating, aren't capable of debating their fundy counterparts when they've realised it's measured flat, but don't have the skills to undo loads of logical fallacies that they get thrown when they're debating somebody that they really shouldn't be. I mean, yeah, they've come here and they know Earth's flat now, but not everybody wants to come to a subject on YouTube, find out the facts of the matter, Earth's measured flat, and then go into debates about it. Not everybody wants that. But we, as a starting point, should always be pointing out that fact, because that's our primary position. I'm a flat earther. What's my silver, I should say. What's my silver bullet? It's that Earth's measured flat for everyone, always. So that's what I'm going to lead with. What's that? You want me to defend a position of non-movement for your movement claim that you can't back up, and easier than it is to defend against me having a non-positive claim of non-movement that I've got to back in false dichotomy for you to argue against, to prove your moving up claim that you can't prove, or to prove your spinning claim that you can't prove. Oh, sod that. What can I prove as a flat earther? I can prove it's measured that way. Has the globe got that, by the way? Has the globe got a globe measurement to prove we're globe-shaped? Definitely not.
No, Nathan! The globe does not have a measurement to prove we're globe-shaped.
No, they just take flat Earth measurements like we do. Let's point that out every opportunity. Earth is flat. That's all we got to say, because it is.
What was that?
I liked it. It was him. I go high-pitched when I'm imitating somebody else, and the lead to get somebody else to respond in a high-pitched voice like Bev did yesterday when he was cornered is to have them go, no, well, you know, like Bill did. That was perfect. Try and pay attention.
I actually thought it was you, Nathan. Good job, Bill.
No, it was perfect. It was Bill. I normally do that voice that Bill would have done to give me the response in the third party that I've got to play with a high-pitched voice. He did it. He just put the pitch in that I would have. Well done.
I like when you did that. I like when you did that to Witsit the other day. You said, "Oh, really?" When he was talking about you can't use the horizon.
Yeah, I cut that out. Have I published that yet? I'm pretty sure I did.
And as far as terrestrial refraction goes, terrestrial refraction is calculated using a flat plane as well. Andrew Thomas Young states it at the very beginning of his paper.
Does he? What does he say?
Really?
Right in the middle of his paper, I've taken chunks out. What did he say right at the beginning?
All of my calculations were based on a flat plane, but we know the Earth's not flat.
Oh, right. No way. Of course he did. It's usually 10th pointing that out. Hope you're out there, 10th. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah, the calculations are done with respect to a flat plane. They have to be. A few people gave us examples when we were in the, I've forgotten the name of the server now, the other server we were in last week. They're like, yeah, that's what you get when you look at the rail network. Well, we're going to deal with it flat, but it's not. It's like, yeah, we need to focus on that. Why have they got this mitigation right in the footnote for the heading sometimes? Well, why? Well, because they've got to measure it flat. That's how it is. So they say well, we've got a certain amount of curve, but on the basis that we're only dealing with this small of an area, so biggie, it's flatty, we're just going to ignore all curvature. But there is curvature. We're just disclaiming that we won't be dealing with it in this instance. We'll be dealing with it flat, but it is still definitely sphere-shaped. We acknowledge it here in our denote. Now on to how we'll build it flat. You're like, okay, so build it flat. You will then, like we all do. Yeah, your mitigation's meaningless because the process you're actually undertaking is flat. The navigation that you're undertaking is flat. The mapping that you're undertaking is flat. The measurements off the Earth are flat. So, but it's also because it's sphere-shaped. Oh, we're just measuring it flat now, aren't we? That's how it is.
Well, that's the only way they can get the measurements that they're getting. Because if Earth wasn't flat, they wouldn't be getting these measurements.
Yeah. Like that scene in Casino. You only exist out here because of me. Well, that's what the position of the ball is. You could take those two characters and have Joe Pesci with a flat Earth head and Robert De Niro with a globe head. You only exist out here because of me. The antecedent consequent relationship for a globe is a flat Earth. You can't have a globe without a flat Earth.
I don't know if I like that, Nathan, because look what happens to Joe Pesci at the end of that. Oh, no. Put the globe on, put the flat Earth on De Niro and the globe on Pesci.
Yeah, but, you were there. You know what really happened. Right? That's not a fair comparison.
Neil wasn't there. We're talking about a fictional movie. He wasn't there just because he's Italian. That's racist.
I'm teasing. Yeah, I am racist. I sound racist. Anyway, it's like Roadhouse, right? When the guy's got the boot knife, right? And he goes to kick Patrick Swayze, and Patrick Swayze catches the boot knife and he says, "You're too stupid to have a good time," and he throws him out of the bar. Yeah, that's what happens when you tell them the Earth is measured flat.
Well, they throw a tantrum.
I get kicked out of the bar.
Okay then. I've never seen Roadhouse, so I don't follow the example.
Do yourself a favor, man. Watch Roadhouse. You're a child of the 80s, Nathan Oakley, 1983, and you haven't seen Roadhouse?
1983?
Look in the mirror. 1980, my bad.
People do that. I don't know why.
No.
YouTube used to do it.
Ninja, that's the right 80s movie.
YouTube used to do it.
I was 99%.
Hold on. You said 1983. Well, that YouTube used to do that too. I don't know why people take 1980 and add the 3 on the end. But in the auto-suggest, YouTube used to do that. You type in Nathan Oakley 1 and it would add as an auto-suggest 1983.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because that was the best year ever.
Okay. I was 3. Yeah, great year.
I was 18 and I had the world by the groinkies.
Oh, righty. Well, this is lovely. Good stuff.
This is just a red herring to take you away from Roadhouse. That's all this is.
Thank you, John. Somebody had to say it. That's hilarious.
My only reference to Roadhouse is Peter Griffin. Peter Griffin also raved about.
I'm done with this show. Yeah, I'm done with this show. You've not seen Roadhouse. Goodbye.
Amen. I'm gone. I'm out of here.
He actually did drop. He was so disgusted. We do a bit more housekeeping because literally we haven't done it for a while.
Let's go.
Any evidence? Oh, he's come back. It was just for comedic effect. It worked. Where haven't we covered for a while? Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Well, what's that?
Science?
What's science? The assertion of cause and effect reasoning based on a hypothesis after observing natural phenomena, validated by systematic experimentation.
Would the logic of be if A then B, not A, therefore not B?
Can you hear him? Can you hear Bill, Arwin?
Now I can.
Would the logic of such a thing be if A then B, not A, therefore not B?
No. You've got a simultaneous statement that cannot universally be held true for both statements. So what no offense, what you're clumsily doing is trying to describe a hypothesis. Well, a hypothesis has 2 statements in it. The alternative hypothesis runs parallel in a scientific prediction, that's a hypothesis, with the null. So both statements are formed when you formulate a hypothesis. So you've already done step one at this stage. Obviously, you've seen something happen in nature. That's your observed phenomena. And you're trying to induce it. So you're trying to make it happen. So you go, what do I think will make it happen? So I think A will cause it to happen. Now, cause it to happen is going to be B. So I think A causes B. That's an alternative hypothesis. You also have a null alongside it. If A, not B. So when you read the full scientific prediction, you get two statements that can't both be true at the same time. You can't have A cause B and simultaneously not cause B. The point being that when you vary A, only one will be proven. This is what I had to put to Jaron when he denied the validity of proof offered in the scientific method. He denied that it could prove things. No, we don't, says Jaron. Yes, we do. It's all it can do. Upon formulation of a hypothesis, one or other statement can only be true because you can't have A cause B and A not cause B. It's a violation of the law of non-contradiction. You can't have them both be true. So when you vary A, only one or other of those two things will happen. Either A will cause B, you vary A, and the thing you are studying in nature is induced. It happens. Well, when that happens, the other statement, the null, is ruled out. But you have tick proven the alternative hypothesis. A caused B. Proven. Tick. Done. Validated by experiment. Just let me, I'm nearly done. One last statement. If you vary A and B does not happen, you rule out your alternative hypothesis and tick prove your null. So no matter what happens at the end of an experiment, based on a scientific prediction, that's a hypothesis, you will prove one or other. It's the only outcome. Proof. I hope that's clear.
Oh, Nathan, for the slow kids in the back, can you just repeat what you just said? Nathan, yes. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, I can, if you are being sincere. Are you?
I am being sincere.
Perfect.
I want to.
No problem. I'll repeat it. So it's not a logic that's formed like a logical consistency, aka modus tollens, for an example. Yeah? We're not doing that. We've got two statements that cannot both be held simultaneously true. Now, those statements are formed based on seeing something happen in nature. Something's going to occur. And you're going to go, ooh, I wonder why that happened. Maybe if I do X, I vary X, that will happen. So you've got two things. The thing that's going to happen because you hope to induce it, and the thing you're going to use to hopefully induce it. So an effect, B, and a cause, A. Cause being the thing that you can actually vary, you as the researcher, and the effect, the thing you saw in nature that you go, I wonder why that happens. So because we've got those two things, A and B, we can now move forward to a scientific prediction, otherwise known as a hypothesis. Now, this scientific prediction has two parts, an alternative and a null. The alternative part of the hypothesis is A will cause B. The thing I'm proposing to vary will induce the effect I studied and observed to occur in nature. A will cause B is an alternative hypothesis. Alongside it is the contrapositive. It won't cause B upon variation. A won't cause B. That's a null. Null means zero difference result. You vary A, nothing happens. You don't get the effect.
Or
go on.
Can be that second one also, or if he's making another effect.
If it isn't the sure, I was going to put that in. I'm glad you have actually, because I was going to. Yeah, if let's say you vary, you're studying some gas that's coming out of the ground, for instance. 1 minute there's nothing happening, then you see this kind of green goop coming out and rising up, and you go, "Wow, what's that? I wonder why that happened." And you go, I think, as I just suggested, it's actually a gaseous release through the soil. So you go, okay, I'm going to say it's caused by gas for the sake of argument. So you're going to, by crude example, say that the variation of a certain gas will cause that effect to occur. Okay. Well, let's say you vary your gas and you don't get some green goop as I've just described. You get an explosion that looks nothing like it. Well, did A cause B? Well, the supposition in your hypothesis is nice and clear. Yeah? A variation thereof will cause the green goop that you're studying because that's B. Now, if you're saying a varied A and C happened, then it doesn't comport with your alternative. It comports with your null. A didn't cause B. Oh, well, it did cause C. So what? Your hypothesis was already set down. You're trying to induce the effect you're studying. So you're like, I wonder why that happened. Well, let's see if I can cause it. Oh, I caused something else. Okay, well, you were trying to figure out what caused the thing you saw in nature, not induce a new effect, because that isn't going to validate a hypothesis. So, in that instance, yeah, you're still validating your null, which is A didn't cause B, because B is the effect you first studied, not the new effect that you then superimpose on the hypothesis after the fact. Yeah, hope that answers your question.
I think we may be jumping the gun with science, though, because what is the natural phenomenon? And I hope to God you don't mention the word down in it, because that's only with respect to a flat plane.
In that instant, yeah.
Can I add something, Nathan? If you make like a 1 million nulls that will give you the data, that means this is not causing the stuff till I don't get the final result.
What you're saying is, if you constantly are trying to affirm that something will cause something else, and all that keeps happening upon experimentation is a constant affirmation that A doesn't cause B, therefore, each time you do it, you don't induce the effect you're studying. You're still successful in each and every experiment, though. I don't know if you realise that. You've still proven the null each time. That is to say,
you're still proving,
Yeah, so if you vary A and it doesn't cause B, you won't come back the following day and find that which you have varied that didn't cause the effect you were studying suddenly causes it. That will never, ever, ever happen. It can't. Again, it violates the law of non-contradiction. A can't both cause things to happen and not cause it. So if you prove it does not cause it, then it forevermore will not cause it, because it isn't the cause.
So either way, there's validation.
Proof, yeah. Proof that it doesn't cause it. I mean, that's far less useful.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't that, is proof positive that it wasn't that. It's still proof positive of something, but it isn't what you were trying to achieve, which is what caused it. You're trying to find out what actually was the cause of the effect you were studying in nature. That's the hopeful outcome.
So that makes the claim that science doesn't prove things ridiculous.
It's all it does. All science does is prove things. If you formulate a hypothesis within the scientific method, the only outcome upon experimentation is proof. That's what it does. It's an empirical outcome.
I remember for years, my son would tell me way before Flat Earth debate, way before Flat Earth was even a thing, that science doesn't prove things, it disproves. So that's ridiculous as well.
Well, when I said rule out, you can take... that's half a truth, because it does disprove things. If I have A causing B as my alternative and A not causing B as my null, and I prove, in like the example we just had, that I didn't induce the effect, therefore I prove my null. But I also disprove my alternative. One will be disproven, one will be proven. You can't have it any other way. But you can take a half-truth and say, all science does is disprove things. No. All, if you want to call it that, failed. It's not. But all an experiment that failed to validate the cause was prove that didn't cause it. Well, that isn't only disproving things. That in itself is a stupid statement. Oh, so you proved that you only disprove things? It's just asinine. It's stupid. Anyway, on that subject, on that topic.
We got to prove existence.
Go on one more time.
We have to prove existence first before we can get into scientific method. So, what is the phenomenon that gravity is claimed to be?
Exactly. That's the methodology here. I was going to go on to that housekeeping question, but I'll keep on that vein instead. You follow the steps if you understand the method. Step 1 is observe a natural phenomena. So, in line with the question, any scientific evidence of gravity, what is your naturally observed phenomena? If it's conjured in a pseudo force-based reality that's invented by Einstein, it's not going to be occurring in the natural world. If you say that gas goes down, go boom boom because mass attracts mass, we'll show you that that is not the case based on laws of nature and how gas actually behaves. They don't have a natural phenomena, to answer your question, John.
No, but it's keeping us on a ball, according to their belief.
Yeah, if you slide the scale. So in Einsteinian mathematics, you just slide the scale at 1 and say that when you're not doing anything, you're actually experiencing a force of 1g that's arbitrarily in place always. And then when you're floating around in an orbital motion derived from a flat plane, that's actually 0. Get it right. Moved up the scale to not doing nothing being 0, falling around in an orbital motion being 0. Go on, John.
You just said gas falls down. That's with respect to a flat plane. What's this have to do with
I love it. Oh, that's epic. That's a double header. So, what you're saying is, even in the assertion of gas go down, go boom, boom, which it does not, it's absurd. They need a flat plane to reference it because it's a vertical description with respect to a horizontal plane for the altitude for it to go down, which it doesn't. Oh, that's epic. That was brilliant. Gas go down, go boom, boom. You need a flat plane for that. That's great.
John's been saying this for days. Where have you been, Nathan?
What, gas go down, go boom, boom? You need a flat plane for that. He hasn't been saying that for days, has he?
I have mentioned a couple of times that down only relates to a horizontal plane, but I've never put
you have mentioned that a few times. Yeah, granted. Scientific method stands on its own, says DALA. It blows BS out of the water. It makes sense. Why some people don't like it? ... Yeah, right on. Thanks for the super chat. People don't like it because the magic trick is to say that you've got science for something that you're bullshitting about. That's it. That's the trick. It's a really crude trick when you break it down. It can be broken down really easily. Science proves. So if you don't have proof, just say you've got science. That dupe put everyone on a ball.
Correct.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics? 105 people watching. Woohoo! Just do a quick shout out. Thank you for joining us, everybody who's joined us. Probably only here because people have smashed that share button. Really appreciate you being here. Please share the show. It's only a couple of clicks, and we can share this show far and wide. Good.
Astronomy, cosmology, and astrophysics. If they're claiming the validity of natural science, then they're pseudoscience by definition.
That's correct.
So pseudoscience would not have viable hypothesis.
That's correct, but they still call themselves science. That's the problem. That's the dupe. Correct. Absolutely spot on.
But you don't know that they may never be able to.
Well done, Just Bill. Neil wants to tag on to your point, I think. Go on, Neil.
But how do you know they'll never be able to? They might one day be able to tell you what the stars are with hands on. We don't know that.
It's an appeal to the future fallacy. There's an appeal to the future fallacy. They already call themselves science. By definition, pseudoscience is a claim of science that has not been through the scientific method. They already claim they are science. The sciences they call themselves. No, they're not. By definition, they are pseudoscience. An appeal to the future fallacy won't get around that, Neil. But nice try.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to manipulate.
Hold on, Neil. Just Bill was actually in the middle of something when you put that across. Go ahead, Just Bill.
I was just speaking to Neil they're not going to be able to manipulate the movement from east to west of the sun, moon, or stars. So astronomy and cosmology and, well, astrophysics, right? I mean, they're going to need a flat plane for all of this, but that's besides the point, that they can't manipulate or to any of this in order to prove their hypothesis or any hypothesis that they would put forward.
Well, they couldn't within their specific paradigm that they uphold, their system, their claims. Within that paradigm, they can't.
Yeah, they.
So
they can't.
Suggesting another paradigm they can?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if they suddenly drop that paradigm and actually see the lights in the sky as lights in the sky and then manage to very manipulate something about it that definitely wouldn't work together with their heliocentric cosmology, well, then they could still do it. It just wouldn't fit in what they do. And that's why they don't. They probably, at this point, maybe could try to do something with the stars or the sun and the moon somehow. But yeah, that wouldn't be in the interest of their story.
So you're saying willful pseudoscientist?
Yes.
Liars be lying.
Not science-based.
I don't know if they know that they're lying, Jispel. There's very few people we can actually ascribe that to.
Well, you would have to know their motives, whether you knew, like, to say whether they know that they're lying or not, you would have to divine their motives.
For this instance, yes.
Can I give you one?
Not necessarily in all instances in this arena. So astronauts, the ones that are claimed to be floating around in a sky vacuum, an area that definitely does not exist, are unequivocal liars. I can point the finger at all astronauts and say they are liars. But beyond that example, yeah, you've got to divine their motivation. Let's try not to do that. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people who come on the show that we deal with and interact with that we can show where they lie easily. Like Dell, for example. You know, there's easy examples to show liars when they lie. But when it comes to astrophysicists by stereotype, they're all like, no, you've got to be careful.
And just because you can formulate a motive for them to lie doesn't mean that is their motive for being wrong.
Being wrong, yes.
So, yeah, but why is that better?
Hold on, just let John round out his point. That's a great point. Just let John round out the point again. Being wrong, quite rightly said. Just say that again, John. That was perfect. Or carry on.
Just because you can formulate a motive for them to lie does not mean that's the reason they are wrong. Lying and being wrong are not the same thing. Let's just stick to what we can prove, and that's that they are wrong.
Yes.
How about this one? Okay, so this is, first of all, from an astrophysicist, which right there in the word. So this is Neil deGrasse Tyson saying this. If the Earth were flat, it would cast a flat shadow on the sun as it orbited the sun. This is what we're dealing with. This is the level of convolution.
Was there more to that, Roto? Or was that it?
Well, no, just that at the multi-level of convolution there, he has to know that's not right.
That's strictly speaking, right? Okay, let me just break down what he said. Right. What Tyson has done in that statement is a fallacy, and I'm going to say a fallacy and a half, which will make sense in a second. So the first half is the important half. And I say half because it's an affirming the consequent. He just doesn't state or he doesn't affirm the consequent. It's just implied. Right? Inside is affirming the consequent is also an orbital begging the question fallacy. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So he's saying if Earth were flat. So the way an affirming the consequent, we covered this earlier, breaks down if P, then Q, i.e. if my statement assumed in the first instance, in this case, on behalf of my opponent, flat Earth, then non sequitur. In fact, is he not providing? Would this not be modus tollens? It would be, wouldn't it? It would be modus tollens. He's offering it as a logical consistency. Say, if Earth was flat, like QE does with Black Swan, then we will observe this, and we don't observe this. Therefore, Earth's not flat. Correct?
Also assuming we're rotating the sun. So he throws that caveat in there.
Yeah, that's
it's
what I said.
Convoluted on multiple.
Yeah, that's what I said when I said 1.5. That's the begging the question. That's a full fallacy to just beg that question of the orbital motion that he dropped in there. But also, he's giving you half an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy, I believe. I'll have to go through it, and if I had it written out in front of me, I'd probably do a better job, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. He's trying to make it sound like it's a logical consistency, pretty much like all fallacies.
Well, now, so he is the spokesman for the public, and this is what he's broadcasting. And so if the question is he a liar? I mean, it's true.
No,
I mean,
just, in this instance, no, he's just got to avoid argument. Once you show how an argument is fallacious, the argument itself becomes void. Well, that doesn't automatically make Tyson a liar. You're going to be hard-pressed to find lies from Tyson. There's a few examples, I'm sure we could. But it's not as overt as astronauts when it comes to astrophysicists, which Tyson is. He's a high priest.
I guess it really doesn't matter if he is a liar if what is said is just a lie.
Not a lie, wrong. You can the intention to deceive has to be there for you to label it lie. Well, he might not have any intention to deceive. We don't know without divining his motivation. I'm sure it was just Bill that covered that a minute ago. I'll just do a quick shout out to a super chatter. Excuse me. Chris Garza, thank you for the super chat. Boats disappearing over the curve always got me lol. Okay, thank you for the super chat. Let's read that again. Boats disappearing over the curve always, I think it's always got me lol.
Well, on that, the Neil deGrasse Tyson probably needs help with his understanding a little bit. If the measurements we use to calculate these motions were valid, then we would observe this. We don't observe this, therefore our calculations are invalid.
Right, so you tie it more squarely to the actual thing that's being done in the Q statement. So it's not deviating back onto the generalization of just it's a flat earth or it isn't, as he's done. You tie it down to the actual statement that's being disproven if he claims that's the case. Yeah. That was complicated.
Yeah, he's basically...
It's like we got three choices, right? It's he's a liar or he's ignorant, but I don't want to say he doesn't know. Like, which would make him a liar again.
No, I wouldn't label either for Tyson. No, skilled magician. There's a lot of admiration you can have for Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a highly intelligent chap, and the way he and it is him that's doing it, positions the argument so carefully. It's a delight to pick apart because of the skill he employs, and he is skilled. Don't underestimate Neil Tyson and just label him a liar. That's too easy.
Well, I can't label him as if he doesn't know either.
What does
that's just?
You say doesn't know.
Like
he does know. He's not ignorant though, is he? He can detail things really well. I mean, I've gone through hours of footage trying to find something that he has slipped up on when it comes to Coriolis. It's really hard. You know, he manages to position things so vaguely while still offering enough detail to tie it back to an actual definition. Like his football example. You go and actually listen to what he says and how vague he keeps it while still giving you a vague misconception of Earth turning underneath the football. Yeah,
it is. It's magic. It is
magic.
I appreciate.
I'm smiling because I appreciate the wizardry that is Tyson. I mean, it's deceitful in terms of the subject matter and in terms of what he's claiming. He's wrong, but he's not an astronaut. If he says, "Yeah, I've been to space," immediately he gets labelled a liar. No, there is no space. It's like someone saying, "I've been to Narnia," looking you in the eye and telling you you've been to Narnia. You know they're a liar straight away. Well, we know that there is no sky vacuum. So the moment anybody claims that they're instantly a liar, there is no ifs, buts, or maybes about that.
Okay, Nathan, you're not an astronaut, correct?
Let's just see. I'm pretty sure I'm not. No.
All right. If you had punted it, like if you were to punt his field goal kick and his calculations as if that were the case, could we be right in calling you a liar?
if you're saying,
so we got three.
if I, again, without dividing my motivation, which is in place of Neil deGrasse Tyson's, if I personally did what Tyson did, I would easily be defined as a liar, because you can find a million examples of me contradicting that position, making me a liar. But you won't find that from Tyson. You're going to be hard pushed to label him a liar, I'm afraid. You're just going to have to accept that.
I accept your point. Yeah, I accept your point. He is a great.
Our battle is not with Tyson. He's a nice, useful, hostile witness to our argument, but the point overall isn't discredit Tyson. That's our opponent's tactics with us, right? Look at this individual and how discredited they are when they make a point that's valid. That's their tactic, not ours. He's wrong, and we can show that. That's what matters.
Yeah, Earth is measured flat.
For Tyson and his orbits, see, there you go. If we're discussing Tyson, we can't help avoid. We're not on the front foot. We're into this discussion. Fair enough, But in terms of when you can lead that conversation back to Tyson measuring Earth flat for his orbital motions in this fallacy that he offered up, the fact that he mentioned orbits, he's going to need a flat Earth for that. He's going to measure with respect to the ecliptic or the equatorial plane. He's going to describe the angle measurements to the stars that are detailed to give you a derivation of orbits around a sphere. From a flat plane measurement in the first instance, he's going to need a flat Earth for his orbits.
Can I just? I'd like to.
I just want to call him a liar. Just let me call him a liar, Nathan.
No, because we look stupid and bad if we do. If you can show his motivation to deceive people in his statements, then I'll back you every step of the way. If you can prove beyond certitude that what he has stated is factually a lie, like the sky vacuum, where there can be no other description of what they are saying when it cannot be true, they cannot believe they've gone to a place that doesn't exist. To not call it a lie. It is. But there's so few examples of that. And we look terrible if we just go around brandishing like our opponents do to us. We're either incompetent, as Brian puts it, stupid, or a liar. That's what we get labelled. It's not fun, but that is what they have. We need to rise above that. This is beneath us, just Bill. Roto, you wanted to get something in, unless you've got a rounding out point that is further to what you've said already, just Bill.
Oh, well, there's a fourth choice. You can be incompetent, you can be a liar, and whatever the other choice was. You can be all three, and that's the fourth choice.
You can. Go ahead, Roto.
Yeah, I like the what is aspect going on here. So all of the what isn't, right? So just to point at another tactic that's used to probably steer clear of in this what is movement, right? Earth's measured flat, great place to stick. But the vacuum, right? The magic box, just like Brian, I think, is really trying to hammer home that density equilibrium requires the medium. It's a requirement to the what we're observing on Earth, things falling or floating or sinking, what have you. But with the vacuum, they remove the medium. And this is where they like to do tests. And then this is where they like to say this happens and this doesn't happen. The magic box. When we go in there, it's just like entertaining Tyson. Just like we're saying, we could probably do the whole show in a vacuum chamber in Tyson, but that's not the what is, right?
What vacuum?
Or it's not in a vacuum. It's not. We don't observe those things. We don't observe the things Tyson says. It's so many leaps of logic. First, just that the Earth is a disk. It has a rim and has an edge. It's a finite size. It orbits the sun. The sun is still 93 million miles away. It would cast a flat shadow. It would affect the eclipses, this and that. That's just sideshow. That endless chasing in a bottomless pit.
It's all correct, apart from just one thing. You're mixing up priests. So Michio Kaku is the guy that said it's leaps of logic, not Tyson, just so we're clear.
Well, all pseudo, right?
All pseudoscientists, yeah. All astrophysicists, yeah. Or no. What's Michio Kaku's title? He's a theoretical physicist, is he not? Either way, yes, all pseudoscience.
Funny on that side show, they just moved the goalpost with saying that now gravity is a pushing force from on high. He says that he lied to us, and that it's not a pulling force from the center, not a pushing force. So see, I mean, it's endless. The measurements are not, though. The measurements are.
While we're on a live show, yes, Roto, absolutely. Bullshitters that they are. Can I just give Adam some props from yesterday's show? I listened back to all of yesterday's show, Adam, and even when I was listening back, I still didn't catch the old switcheroo from elevation angle measurements with respect to the horizon to elevation changes. And when I got to that point, I was like, oh, I still didn't catch it. There he is pointing it out, and it's already happened, and you've caught it. But I was just pleased to not catch it the second time, meaning, oh, right, I still didn't catch it, even having had it happened already, you know what I mean, live. There's you pointing it out without me having caught it a second time around. So I just wanted to give you props for that. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know if you can hear us, Adam.
Yeah. That was a deceit again yesterday. It's kind of what I've been saying to the boys. It's everywhere, mate. Listen to these people now talk to you and analyse what they say. Don't worry about explaining to your audience or anybody else. Just listen to these people and listen to the truth of what they say. There's no truth in it. All they've got is subdivision, lies, deceit, or just trying to mug you off. Yeah? And I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why all these people are behaving like this. Why Bev would even tend to be, he professes to be a flat earther. Why are people who are pretending to be genuine coming here, doing those things, being deceitful? And yesterday was a good one. I'm glad I did catch it. But they're out there all the time. This is not our stuff.
Adam, it sounds like either you're in Europe or the UK. I can't hear you.
I am in my car, which is currently in the UK.
I think he means that you've got the old Brian problem with a scratchy mic that gets cut out when it passes over to Discord.
Probably. I'll be home in a minute, but yeah, it was. Got to listen for them.
Say it again, Adam. Give us the Cliff Notes. Because we know you have a concise point to make.
I very, very rarely have a concise point. What I was going to summarise then is just listen out. Thank you for the kudos to me for spotting it. There's tons of them, and as we move forward, make sure we are listening to what our opponents are actually properly saying instead of assuming and as giving them a level of intellect that they don't deserve. Listen to them, and that's generally all you'll actually have to deal with, pointing out the nonsense that's just come out of their mouth. Or lies.
And with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned. There will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and all that good stuff. Obviously, another massive thank you to Discord and G Plus Panels for making today's live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!